What if working less could actually unlock more revenue, more freedom, and more joy? In this episode, you'll discover how designing your business around strategic constraints like a 3-day work week can actually accelerate growth and open the door to a life beyond your wildest dreams. Hi, and welcome to the You World Order Showcase podcast, where we feature life, health, transformational coaches, and spiritual entrepreneurs stepping up to be the change they seek in the world. I'm your host, Jill Hart, the Coach's Alchemist, on a mission to help coaches and entrepreneurs amplify their voice, monetize their mission, and get visible, leveraging Substack and podcasts. Today, we are chatting with Jenna Harrison. Jenna is a top ranked business coach, podcast host, and founder of The Uncommon Way. A reformed overworker, she now helps women create more freedom, impact, and wealth while working just 3 days a week. For Jenna, the 3-day work week is just the beginning. It's about building a business that fuels your dream lifestyle. She's done exactly that, scaling to multiple six figures, retiring her husband early, and moving her family to Spain, where she enjoys mountain hikes with friends and beach days with her 7-year-old son. Jenna's mission is clear: to show entrepreneurs that extraordinary results don't require endless hustle. They require doing the business the uncommon way. Welcome to the show, Jenna. It's great to have you here.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
I feel like the guy on The Price is Right. Come on down.
I should
Okay,
be
so
wearing a glittery ball gown, right?
well, yeah, you
Like
got a
the
kind of a
Vanna White.
sparkly shirt, yeah,
Yeah.
and point.
Yes. Yes. I should
All
have
right,
little
let's ask.
diagrams behind me.
Mm,
And, yeah, jazz hands.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so what's the most significant thing, in your opinion, as individuals we can do to make an impact on how the world is going?
Women need to stop doing everything right and start doing what works for them.
I love that. That is just
Yes.
like, okay, we're done.
Yeah. Yes, in my experience, there are so many layers. We're trying to do the affirmations correctly for the mindset, and we're trying to do the strategy correctly, and we're trying to live our lives as the perfect women, perfect moms, and do everything right. But so often we're completely out of alignment. We're not really showcasing our secret sauce. Maybe we don't really even know what that is. And it's just creating a lot of waste and a lot of exhaustion, and it's certainly not contributing to the world that we all want to live in.
Yes, that is so true. And when we're trying to do everything and be everything to everybody, we end up we're burning out. And we make some of us burn out slower than others, but it impacts everybody that you're around. Because when
It
you're burning
does.
out, you're much more stressed. And a stressed human being is not a human being that's contributing positively to their environment.
Absolutely not. In fact, we can't because they can put human brains under fMRIs now and literally see that when they're stressed, the parts of the brain are offline that have to do with compassion and creativity and so many other things that we think we want in entrepreneurship and in all the roles in our lives, but we literally don't have access to it in the ways that we do when we're in a different state of being.
Don't you find that when we start talking about things like motherhood and entrepreneurship and relationships and all of the different things that maybe we're interested in, we try to like segment them out instead
Mm,
of like, this is my life. It all runs
yes.
together. And
Yes.
it's like how we're painting the picture. If we want to like muddle them all up, it's not going to look that
Sure.
great. But if we have if we have it planned out more carefully, then the colors will complement each other and all the little
Mm.
pieces will look good together rather than, if you mix all the paints together, it just turns into mud, which
Mm.
sometimes we find ourselves when we're stuck. It's like we're stuck in the mud. It's because all our colors are running together.
Oh, that is such an interesting metaphor. Yes, I love that. One of my favorites is to think of when I walk around here, I notice that olive trees will just grow straight out of the side of cliffs, and they have no irrigation, no water, and yet there they are just thriving. And it's so fascinating because you could put them in the quote unquote textbook perfect growing conditions of like lots of humidity and nutrient rich soil, and they would literally die. They would wither and die because it's just not the right conditions for them. It's not what they need. If they're in the right conditions in the wild, they can live for hundreds, even thousands of years. It's truly amazing. And when I start to look around at nature and see how that works for so many, all animals, all plants, really, it really helps me explain the fact that the same is true for us. And when we are in our right conditions, our thriving is inevitable. Sometimes we just need to get out of our way.
Do you find that this may sound like it's kind of off track, but do you
Mm.
find that a clean environment or being particular about how your environment looks affects how you perform?
Oh, that is such an interesting question. Before, I would have said no. And it's interesting because I was just talking with someone on my podcast, actually, who is an organizer, but an organizer for business, for coaches, actually. And used to be a home organizer, and I told her that we moved into a substantially smaller home here when we went to live in Spain. And interestingly enough, I've had to start organizing in ways that I never had to before. I have everything folded in the Maria Kondo way. I have all sorts of like underbed storage. And it has created so much spaciousness in my life. I literally smile every time I walk into my bathroom. I never thought I'd be that woman, but all of my bottles are arranged in perfect order, and they're in these little removable basket things that I can take up and have everything exactly where I need it. And what a difference it makes. Do you
I,
tend to be organized in your home as well?
I do, and I find,
Oh.
especially in the kitchen, I have my pots are all on this hanging rack,
Mm.
and they're in a specific order, and it drives me crazy when my husband does the dishes and he just puts them up randomly everywhere. I have to go and put them back where they belong because they have a spot. And it sounds so silly, but and even like the cutting board, it has my cutting board has a handle on it, and it sits on my dish rack. There's a rack piece for it, and I put it in one way. And I'm the primary cook in the household, so
Hmm.
I like to just, reach over and grab it, and all my stuff is right where I don't have to think about where did I put
Ah,
that. And
yes.
that's what organization does for a person. And beyond just having your home or your office organized, if you can organize your life, I
Hmm.
think that it 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 kind of moves from your outside inside. If you can get your
Yes.
environment organized, then your the rest of your stuff that you're trying to put together tends to fall more into line.
That is such a great example of the cognitive load that we carry and the blind spots we have that we don't even notice is there. So a year or two ago, I might have thought nothing of the fact that it took me 5 minutes to find something. But all of that really amplifies, doesn't it? And there's so many things in our lives and in our businesses where we are carrying extra emotions and extra, baggage that isn't really ours, things that were given to us or things, world events going on, different things that we think we have to be or ways that we have to show up. So much cognitive load. And anyone who's gone through the journey that we have from disorganized to organized knows the difference. And it's something that's hard to explain to people that haven't actually gone through it. But in so many areas of your life, it's just like, they say taking the backpack off, taking the weight off. And it's such a silent and substantial energetic drain for us. It leaks. It's an energy leak, honestly.
It really is. And if you're talking
Mm.
about having a 3-day work week where you get everything you need to get done do you work with solopreneurs or do you mainly work with people that are much larger, have teams, or how does that work?
Both, both. Yeah. I work
So,
with people that are just starting out all the way to multiple seven figures.
so I would imagine that in I've been a solopreneur for most of my life,
Mm,
various different areas. But the thing that I
mm,
know is that you need to be organized. And if you're not organized, yes, there's the energy leak, but there's time leaks. The
mm,
time that you spend looking for stuff or trying to remember stuff, and the whole walking into a room and forgetting what you're there for, so you go back and then you walk back, that's time that you'll never get back
yes.
and it's
Yeah.
wasted. And then you've forgotten that other thing that you were trying to hang on to when you're not organized in your home so you can find what you're looking for right away or on your computer or in your business. Like it's really easy for you to feel like you're working a million hours and you're really not, because you're
Exactly.
just like you're so disorganized that you're spending all your time just trying to find stuff or remember what you
And
were trying to find, for why, for what reason.
sure. And the same is true for all the decision making when it takes us days to make a decision and when we have to overthink and think about what they'll think if we write this content. So we rewrite our content to be completely different. And and there's so much time drain. There's so much time that's wasted in those ways.
Yeah. Uh, Yeah. I've
Yeah,
always been one of those people that it's just like better done than
right.
making. Yeah, I'd rather send out 2 emails because I have to correct the link than rethink what I was doing. I'm
I had
terrible
a
about that.
I had a client who was sure her business had started to dip and she was sure she needed to create more content, that it was becoming more difficult for her content to be seen. And so she needed to just ramp it up, right? We just need to do more, hustle more. But it turns out that when I asked her, what do you really think is the breakthrough that you need in your business? The breakthrough that will be the lever that creates the biggest transformation, the biggest change. She said, she got quiet and she goes, I think that I need to stop holding back on what I need to say. I think I just need to be bolder and really say what needs to be said. And that she was absolutely right. And so there was so much that went into keeping her from doing that, in mentally, obviously. And when she was able to clear that out, she realized she could actually create less content because now it was more powerful, more impactful.
I think we get trained when it comes to content to not be authentic and not be ourselves and not put our opinions out there. And I think it's
Mm,
social media that has really trained us in that way, which is one of
mm,
the reasons I really love Substack, is because they're all about authenticity and you
mm,
just lay it out there. And people are
mm,
kind over there because they're all content creators and I've had a couple people say something kind of snarky to me, and both of
mm.
them came back later and softened it.
Ah,
It's just
interesting.
like it's such an interesting dynamic over there, which is why I encourage everybody to, get on Substack.
Yeah.
It's free. It's a great place to really connect with people because they're they're wanting authentic connections and they want to know what you really think.
Mm,
Even if they don't agree with you, it's okay. And it's not okay in
yes.
a lot of places to post like that.
No. And choosing the right community to be in is
Mhm.
essential, right? We have a diet that we choose to feed ourselves, whether we realize it or not. And we need to feed ourselves the most nutrient dense diet.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And
Yeah.
we're not even talking like food. We're talking in
No.
the energetics that you allow to come into your body, um,
Yes.
from who you're around. We were talking about communities because we were both raised by military officers, naval military officers,
Yes.
and about the different communities in the military. And I wanted to kind of reconnect on that level, but also talk about how your time in the military, and I know you married a military person as well, and how that has shaped what you're doing today.
Oh, yes, fundamental change. So I, yes, I was raised in the military. I turned 18. I said never again. And I ran off to Europe and New York City and as far away as I could get from military bases. But many years later, I was on a platform, a dating platform called eHarmony. This was 15 years ago. And I got a little notification in my inbox from Benjamin in Korea. And I thought, Benjamin in Korea? That's an interesting Korean name. But I opened it up and it was a US soldier who was stationed in Korea. And we just started communicating. And he was just such a wonderful, nice, kind-hearted guy that we kept up the, pen pal thing. And then finally he came back to the States, got stationed back in the States, and we were finally able to meet, and the rest is history. But what I didn't realize when I was marrying back into the military was that thankfully times had changed. It wasn't like when my mother was there and she had to, actually, I as well would get, I don't know if you remember this, but the sailors and soldiers on their evaluations would have a section that talked about the behavior and performance basically of their spouse and children. So if their spouse and children were not falling in, towing the line, then that would be considered problematic and would be difficult for that person to get promoted and accelerate in ranks because they needed the whole family to be part of the career. So times had changed, but what was available to me now was that spouses in the Army with Army leadership can actually attend the classes that soldiers can attend on leadership development. And I was really fascinated. This was one of my first entrees into the personal development world. And I was always curious from the outside, like, how do you take these inner city youths and put them through boot camp or something, and they come out as US soldiers, right? They act differently, they carry themselves differently. What is really going on? Is that just brainwashing? Is it hypnosis? Is it fear? Are they all quaking in fear? But what I was able to learn through these courses that I did, and I eventually got my certificate in leader development from the U.S. Army War College, which is their graduate level institution, what it really comes down to is identity building. And so they're really reinventing themselves to create this new identity. And what they've seen through numerous studies is that, yes, you can motivate somebody through fear or disciplined action, but what really creates the longest effect, the longest lasting motivation is identity change, is becoming the person who. And that has formed the basis of so much of my work. I combined that then with my business knowledge and I combined it with my own path to finding clarity and finding what I was really here to do in the world. And it's just all come together in a really beautiful way that kind of blends the strategy and the more intuitive side of business.
Did you do it in community or do you do it as one-on-one? Or do you do it as courses? How does all that look?
In terms of me with my clients or how I learned
Mhm.
from the military.
No, in terms of you with your clients.
Yes, yes. I have private clients and then I also have a mastermind. So I believe so strongly in community and the power of social learning. I used to only have one-to-one clients and then I just started noticing, oh, if only so and so could talk to so and so, right? They'd
Yeah.
see that they're not the only one or that someone just figured it out. They could do it in this way. So I just said to them, I said, you know what, would you all be interested in meeting? At no extra charge or anything. We'll just all get together and talk. And the difference I saw in results from that moment was just explosive because finally they weren't in a they weren't in a vacuum battling their own mind.
Mhm.
They were surrounding themselves with other people who proved that it was possible and encouraged them and supported them and helped them get out of their way. And it made all the difference.
I can see how that parallels with the military, and I
Hmm.
know a lot of people that are like, "Oh, boot camp's terrible, and the sergeants are horrible," and but every person I've ever met, including my oldest daughter, she joined the army.
Ah.
She was a whiny human being when she went in there. She hated the world. And we went when she graduated from boot camp, and she's just like, she mentioned in passing her feet hurt. Like, well, what, why do you feet hurt? And she said, well, I have a lot of blisters because we've done a lot of marching. And I said, well, I'm so sorry about that. She said, oh, pain's just weakness leaving your body. This was not the human being who'd lived with me for 18 years. And
Absolutely.
the other point is that they use, I think they still do, they shave men's heads. They make
Mm,
women tie all your hair up. You cannot have any loose hair anywhere on your head.
yes.
But men, they shave their heads. And the reason that they do that is because you're starting over. It's a rebirth process. Boot camp is.
Absolutely.
And you're learning how to do everything. They pretend like you don't know anything, no matter who you are. And officers go through this too. It's
Hmm.
just like you are at the beck and call of the superior officer assigned to you, and they're going to make sure you do things absolutely perfectly. And that's the little things like making your bed. You know,
Yes.
a lot of people in
They
the world don't make their bed in the morning. I just like, I don't get that.
Well, and they used to say you needed to be able to bounce a dime off of the bed
Mhm.
or some coin. It had to be that
Yeah, a
tight and
quarter.
that
Yeah. Yeah.
perfect. A quarter. Yes. Yes, yes. It is a rebirth. It is a reinvention
Mhm.
process. But the beauty is that I think they tapped into what we now know to be true from neuroscience is that the brain is absolutely plastic and that you absolutely can recondition it yourself. And that's a really thrilling piece of information. It really opens the door to so many things. And that's why I really love, the 3 day work week formula. It just kind of stretches people's minds around what's possible. But really, it's a metaphor. Some people come to me and they've been working 60 hours and they would just love to work 40. They're not even interested in a 3 day work week. But when they see that they can create that thing that felt impossible before, it just opens the door. What else is possible? That's how when I've had clients lose the weight or move to a different place or, break up with the partner in order to find the love of their life and just so many changes, so many things become possible. And we just wonder why we weren't really stepping into that power before, the power we have to create change.
A lot of it stems from just upbringing and
Hmm.
society always saying that, no, you have to just be happy with what you have. The whole you'll have nothing and like it thing.
Yep.
Maybe we will have nothing and like it, but it's more than, it's not because they're telling us we can't, which is the angle that it's always put from, is you
Mm,
can't have anything and you will
mm.
be happy, rather than you could release stuff. You have the power to release stuff and make space for other things in your life, and that's where the happiness will show up. it's
Mm,
it's a juxtaposition,
mm,
but it's so true, because the more stuff you have, the more trapped you are.
like organizing.
Like organizing,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know, just
We also have we have a sense of fixed identity, and that is part of, our normal ego development. But they've done studies to show that people completely underestimate the amount of change how they have changed as a person in just 10 years. And they'll do that at every decade. And the people won't actually realize, even their personality, how much that's changing. But the actual truth is, we go through a lot of change in our lives. We just tend to change in the direction of other people around us rather than intentionally deciding how we want to be, who we want to be, what kind of business we want to have, what kind of life we want to have, and then reverse engineering those results.
So do you help people actually like map out? There's a lot of talk about, just manifest it and all of those
Hmm.
things really do play into it, calling stuff out of the consciousness. But there's also
Yes.
practical steps you need to take. You can't just sit around and wish for stuff to happen. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's one or two people, I shouldn't say no one can do this because I could be proven wrong at a moment's notice, but
Right,
just
right. No, that's true. I actually have an interesting story because when I was creating my business, I was really listening to my people. I did a lot of work, but then what happened is I was using it in my copy and I started to rank on Google. And then once I was on Google, I really did have an opportunity to practice the energetic realm and the manifestation. And I would notice that based on what I was believing about myself and believing about other clients and people that were out there, I would see the different people come through the exact same landing page, different types of people. Like I remember once thinking, I used to do everyone's copy for them and all of their messaging. Then that changed. And I remember a point thinking, you know what? I bet they've got to be women out there who just absolutely know how to market already. And they really just want to work on their mindset. And sure enough, then more people started coming in that really just wanted to get out of their own way and work on their mindset. And I thought this is fascinating. Price points started changing. Their intention started changing. The number of people coming through would change. And so I've really been able to do both. I don't think that that would have been able to happen without the work that I had put in, the belief that I'd put in, the clarity building that I had created that helped me then communicate with the universe about what I wanted. But then again, I also know there there are many things going on in our business. But yes, to answer your question, absolutely. We love strategy. We love to geek out on the tactics, but it has to be based on what actually works for the person. I've seen people that build their businesses that live on Instagram. I have other clients that never touch social media. I myself was off of social media for many years, and my business continued to double during that time. So I really don't think there's any one way it has to be done. What needs to happen is it has to be the right way for you. It has to be your uncommon way, or you'll always have some sort of drag.
And the little drags that show up in your life, often you don't even recognize what's holding you back without somebody
Mhm.
that can come along and say, did you think about that? I can see that over there, but you probably can't.
Yes, yes. It is really interesting how artful our brains are at keeping us in exactly the same patterns. And of course, it's a survival technique. We all know why it happens. We're all coaches here and healers. But what unfortunately happens is that it's like we think we're in an ocean of possibility, but really we're in a fishbowl inside the ocean. And that fishbowl is our mind, right? And so we don't understand that we're actually tapping up against the glass. But really, we have other opportunities we haven't considered. We have other ways of, you know, maybe avoiding this obstacle or moving around the little boulder in the path, and it's just really challenging for us to see from our own perspective. That's why I usually have a coach, and I recommend everyone have someone with a very kind of clear-headed perspective who can step back and is willing to tell you some of the hard truths.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
and tell you to look up because you can just
Yeah.
swim out of the fishbowl. It's
That's
not like
true.
your mind, your mind can be open or closed. It's up to you. But if
Mm.
you have a coach or if you have somebody that can just say, hey, look that way. Not
Yes,
even tell you what
yes.
to do, but give you some ideas. And sometimes that's That's enough
Have
to
you
just
ever
like move.
have you ever seen those memes on learned helplessness? And it's a cat sitting in a cat carrier, but they've taken the top part of the cat carrier off, but it still wants to get out the little gate, little wire gate, even though it could
Yeah.
just hop right out of the carrier. Yeah, that's us so often. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's
I love it. I love encountering my next layer. I love finding that opportunity to really step into my next level. It always feels like I said, putting the backpack down or like this sense of relief and spaciousness and possibility. It's, I think, a really fun process.
I think it's really fun too, but I hate the part that you're butting up against the wall.
Yeah.
It's probably
Yeah.
why the other part feels so good. Like, oh,
That's
I could
true.
just turn to the side, put the backpack down.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So I love the work you're doing helping people with Substack and with podcasting because it just helps people see that there's so many different ways to find your people, right? And connect with your people. And that's really what it's about.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
building your own tribe, and everybody has a tribe out there. And
Hmm.
the world's so big and it's so close now. It doesn't like
Yeah.
I talk to people all over the world almost every
Yes.
day, and it's like they could just be down the street from me because it's
Yes.
that kind of a community. I mean, it's never been like this before. We live in
It
an
has not.
amazing time, and just the possibilities truly are endless. I love your analogy of the fishbowl because
Mm,
it's like you can see it. It doesn't seem like it's not like a
right.
glass ceiling where you, that old metaphor about, women can't get through
Hmm.
the glass ceiling. You can see up above you, but you can't get there. You can
Yes.
actually get there. You're just looking straight ahead instead of looking up. And yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know you offer a 7-day thought cleanse. Do you want to
I
share a
do.
little?
I do. So, along the lines of what we've been talking about, this is an opportunity. It's really fun and simple. It's an email is going to arrive into your inbox every day for 7 days, and it's going to help you see certain thought patterns, which I see come up again and again for women entrepreneurs at all different levels in their business. And it's just going to give you an opportunity to kind of highlight them, see them, and practice living without them just for one day. So, the same way we would do a juice detox or something, and we would just practice living without certain things, we're
Mhm.
just going to do that, but category by category for 7 days and just enjoy the benefits afterwards, that nice kind of clean feeling of possibility and potential. Because really, your life absolutely changes when you start thinking differently, right? When you can think uncommonly, so differently to how so many of us think, then really you have limitless potential.
I love how you call it a cleanse also, because
Mm,
all of this stuff is not a once and done thing. Like you don't take one
mm-hmm.
shower and then I don't have to shower ever again.
Right, 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 right. Yes. And just the
You,
same way other little things start building up in our system over time, we have natural negativity biases. We have certain patterns that have been built in since childhood, and we just need a refresh every once in a while to re-remember and reset, and then, yeah, pick up and go.
so you can do this more than once.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
So, and people can find this at theuncommonway.com /
Yes.
thought hyphen cleanse. If they just go to theuncommonway.com, they can find a link for it somewhere.
Actually, no, this is a special gift for your
Oh,
listeners. And so they wouldn't be able to find it without the link, but I'm sure, hopefully, can you put that in your
oh,
episode
absolutely.
description? Okay, great, great, great.
So
Yes,
you need to remember to go to / thought cleanse in order to find this special gift. And it truly is a gift.
yes,
So thank you
yeah,
so much, Jenna. I appreciate you doing that
yes.
for us.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. Yes, and I am everywhere at The Uncommon Way. I have social media, my website, my podcast. It's very easy to find me, but I would love to connect with anyone who feels interested and moved by this conversation. I think that the more of us who see each other doing it, creating uncommon choices, building businesses in uncommon ways, finding what really works for us, the more we can do that, the more we have a very like full well, a very satisfying, fulfilled place to then serve.
Yes, I agree. I
Mhm.
just like it's so amazing. I really appreciate you joining me today.
It's been such a pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
To learn more about Jenna and the Uncommon Way and to find the 7-day thought cleanse, please visit www.theuncommonway.com/thought dash cleanse for the thought cleanse. And just to reach out to her, you can just go to the uncommonway.com. And what's the name of your podcast, Jenna? I want to just make sure that we share that too.
Thank you. It's called The Uncommon Way.
Okay, I thought so, but I
Yes.
wanted to be sure.
Yes, and you
And
can feel free to DM me on Instagram. I'm very, very accessible and very excited to talk about these topics. Any questions that come up, but is it really possible? I get these questions a lot, but wait, in my industry, would it be possible? In my circumstances, would it be possible? Just bring it. Let's talk about it.
awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in with us today. If you have a podcast or are interested in starting one, be sure to reach out to us at support@heartlifecoach.com. We love to help spiritual entrepreneurs and coaches amplify their voice and monetize their mission and offer a variety of ways to do this leveraging Substack. Join us for our next episode as we share what others are doing to raise the global frequency. And remember, change begins with you. You have all the power to change the world. Start today and get visible.